Hey guys, it's Justin again, and today we're going to go over the installation instructions for a rear sway bar on a Can-Am X3. It's a very easy installation, maybe 6 bolts, should take you about 10 or 15 minutes. So for starters, let me tell you a little bit about what the rear sway bar does for you now and what our bar will do for you once you put it on. The stock sway bar is not adjustable. What it does is control body roll. So as you come into a corner and you're turning left, the car wants to tip out to the right. That is controlled by the rear sway bar. If the rear sway bar is a little bit on the soft side, you end up with a lot of body roll and you can tip the car over. If the rear sway bar is on the stiff side, then the car is extremely flat and level and you can increase the speed through a corner. Our sway bar, as compared to the stock sway bar, has 3-hole adjustability. So the bar is tunable for all the driving styles and all the terrains that you might see. Now with that being said, let's go over to the workbench and check out a complete kit. So to my left, you'll see a complete anti-sway bar kit for the X3. It's actually a fairly simple kit. It comes with a sway bar, complete set of links, hardware, and spacers. But let's take a closer look at each one of these parts. Now we always recommend that you lay out all the parts on the bench before you start. We want to make sure that you've got all the components that are supposed to be in the kit, and you can also start in order that you need to on the instructions and grab one part at a time, making it easier to do. So let's go over the parts that are included in the kit. Obviously, we've got an anti-sway bar in the kit, and the bar that we designed uses a higher quality material and is heat treated. This way we can obtain the exact spring rate for the bar that we needed for the adjustability and still use the stock bushing diameters, keeping the cost of the kit much less. We also include a full set of sway bar links. Our billet aluminum links come with a set of adjustable high-quality rod ends. These rod ends are not 1/2 inch in diameter, they're 5/8. It's a much bigger rod end, much more expensive, but they don't wear out. Also included in the kit are 8 stainless steel high misalignment spacers, which are going to be installed inside the rod ends and allow much more angularity of movement in the rear link. Also included in the kit are grade 8 hardware where the links connect to the sway bar. Our sway bar is much thicker at this point for strength, so a longer bolt is needed. There are not very many tools needed for this installation. Some of the tools that are needed are 18mm and 19mm sockets, 18 and 19mm wrenches, 21mm and 24mm open-end wrenches. So now that you're familiar with all of the components in this kit, let's go ahead and get this installation started. So step 1 in the process is to remove the links and the bushing mounts from the factory system. Everything on there is the same, it's all 18mm. The only thing that you're going to need different than that is a 21mm open-end wrench, which locks the upper portion of the sway bar link so that you can take the 18mm nut off. Now you can repeat the steps on the opposite side. So with both sides loose, the next step is to pull the sway bar out of the car. We want to pull it out from the passenger side so that we can maneuver it around the cooling lines. Just make sure that the bushings are removed from the bar. You're going to save those as well as the factory brackets. We don't want to lose them, so remove them now. Now that you have both bushings and all the hardware removed from both sides, it's time to pull the bar out from the passenger side. Again, it's the easiest way to remove it from the passenger side. So now grab the new sway bar and install it exactly the way you pulled out the stock sway bar from the passenger side. The sway bar doesn't have a top or bottom or a left or a right. You can install it either direction. So we got the sway bar in, but a few things that would really help. If you had somebody else on the opposite end, then you could get them to guide the bar around some of the cooling lines and some electrical as you tuck it in. If you don't have somebody to help you like me, it just takes a little bit longer to finagle the bar around all of those things. So be patient, it goes in. With the new bar in place, you can take the factory bushings and bushing clamps, installing these on the new bar, and going ahead and bolting the whole system back onto the car. Repeat this on the other side. Next, you're going to grab one of the links that's supplied in the kit and install the stainless steel spacers in both of the rod ends on the link. It might be helpful just to do one at a time, 2 spacers one end, and install this in the trailing arm, and then do 2 spacers on the other side and install that on the sway bar. These spacers are designed to give you a lot more range of movement and allow for more angularity in the system. These links come loose on purpose so that you can install it easier, and we'll be locking these down once it's installed. Use the factory hardware for the lower connection of this link to the trailing arm. Now grab the remaining spacers, install them in the upper portion of the link, and use the new hardware supplied in our kit to attach it to the sway bar. So with the spacers installed in the rod end, and you're ready to use the new hardware to attach it to the sway bar, we'd like to see you start with this in the middle hole. We'll go over the differences between the front, middle, and rear hole at a later time in the instructions, but make sure you use the washer supplied with the new hardware on the outside of the bolt. You don't need the washer on the nut side on the back. Now you can repeat this process on the other side. So now that everything in the kit is installed, but all the hardware is left loose, it's time to tighten everything in the kit. Start with the bushing clamps where they attach to the frame first, and then go ahead and tighten up the hardware that holds the links to the lower control arm and to the upper portion on the sway bar. All of the hardware is 12 millimeter, which is torqued to 80 foot-pounds. Make sure that you check that when you're done. The jam nuts that are on the links can be tightened at this time too. They are a 24 millimeter open end wrench, and they can be tightened by hand with a snug fit. Well, that's it. The whole installation is done. It doesn't take very much time at all, not very much involved in it. But let's take a little bit of time to talk about the adjustment of all three holes on the bar. The way the bar is designed, the middle hole is very similar to the stock rate of the stock bar. The rear hole and front hole are 20% different than that. The rear hole is 20% softer than stock. The front hole is 20% stiffer than stock. This means if you like the way your stock bar works in the terrain that you drive, run it in the middle hole. If you're more of a rock crawler or a mountain trail, slow driving, independent movement type of driver, then use the rear hole on the bar. That's the perfect setup for you. If you're more aggressive or carry more weight in the car, run the bar in the forward hole. So, for instance, if you're going to the dunes or if you have a lot of accessories in a luggage rack or in the back of the car, middle to front hole is for you. If you're going to be driving slow and crawling rocks all day, then absolutely the rear hole is better for you. As we mentioned in the instructions, the sway bar links are sent loose. The reason for this is it makes it a lot easier to install the link. But the only thing that you really need to make sure of is that both links are set at the same length. We have them threaded basically all the way in, and this is the perfect length for the kit. So if you have nothing wrong with your car, basically, install it, lock them down, and you're good to go. The only time that you would ever extend a length or shorten a link is if you have something bent or tweaked in your car, chassis or trailing arm possibly. When the car is sitting level and one side is short and the other side's long to get installed, that's the reason for having an adjustable link, so you can set it up for what's wrong with your car. But 99% of the time, there's nothing wrong with the car. You can lock them down at the same length and you're good to go. So remember, the advantage to our sway bar system is that it is adjustable compared to the stock system that is not. You don't have to adjust it in one hole, lock it down, and leave it there. The whole idea is that you can change it according to the terrain that you're going to be driving in. So if you go to the mountains one trip, set it on the loose setting. If you end up going to the dunes the following weekend, set it on the stiff setting. If you end up packing more equipment in the car than you normally do, stiffen it up. If you're going to be seeing a little bit of every kind of terrain on your trip, maybe you lock it down in the middle. The point is, take the time to adjust it according to where you're going to be. An adjustable sway bar is a beautiful thing, and it will only help with your driving abilities and getting used to the car and controlling it in a safe way. So a lot of you may have already purchased our front sway bar or might be considering the front sway bar and rear bar together. So I want to take a minute and tell you a little bit about how the front and the rear affect the car from stock to where it actually could go. In our opinion, the factory front sway bar is horribly inadequate for what the car actually needs. The rear sway bar is actually pretty close, but on an average basis. It's good for most people, but it's not good for all terrains. So we would prefer to see the front bar done right away because it will stop a lot of nosedive on corner entry. It'll also stop you from having to pick up the inside rear tire as you come into a corner pretty hot. But with a front sway bar that's actually up to the rate that the car needs, it creates the balanced car. The car no longer has those diving tendencies and you can rail a corner flat, level, and balanced front to back. So in our opinion, we feel like the front bar does the most improvement and definitely the most good from an instantaneous change from stock to beautiful. So, which bar to buy first? Very much a preference. We personally think that the front bar is a bigger advantage. The rear bar finalizes the tunability in the system and is exactly what you need to be able to get this system to work perfect for your driving style and terrain. So if you'd like to purchase the front sway bar or rear sway bar that we have in this installation video, go to our website, shocktherapist.com. If you have any questions about this installation, leave your comments below or call the shop. And for more great UTV content and videos, stay tuned to our YouTube channel. Testy, testy, test, test, test. Check the mic. Animated Justin here versus tired Justin. Honestly, the front of these cars don't have near enough bar. As soon as you come into the corner, it picks up a back tire and dives on the front. So front bar is drastically better on driving the car. No negatives or nothing, it's bitching. Our billet aluminum links come with adjustable, high gual, gual. Remember that the whole point of our sway bar system is that it is adjustable as opposed to the sock system that's not. I've slurred.
I think you said sock.
Sock.
The sock system?
The sock system? It's a very rare system, not very often seen. And for more great UTV content and videos, stay tuned to our YouTube channel.
Woo! Holy shit! You guys, who was that guy?
One take.
One take wonder.